there's a few of them. Jen DiGiacomo, hello JDG, asks, Dateline, February 18th, 1983. A letter from one Dave Sim was published in Comics Buyer's Guide number 483 and reads as follows. I am interested in trading Cerebus original artwork for free pre-1942 DC superhero comics, starting with action number 1. Anyone interested in the artwork for 2 complete issues? 3? That was actually a reasonable offer to make in 1983. That would actually have gotten you potentially an action number 1 if you were a Cerebus fan and an action number 1 owner. If this offer tempts anyone, please let me know. Okay. Did anything ever come of this? First question. Yes, there were. Not from the actual buyer's guide, but it was one of those offers that I would make. I would do signings at stores, and they would have Golden Age books. And since I knew that the store owner is having me in the store, he's already a Cerebus fan. Hey, you got I did trade for a Detective number 32, which was in really nice condition, which is like the 5th, 6th Batman comic. Didn't have Batman on the cover. And are you interested in trading for Cerebus artwork? And it's like, sure. Well, okay, my artwork was going for $100 a page. At the time, I think he had a $300 price on the book. So, you let me know what 3 Cerebus pages you want, and I'm walking out of here with Detective number 32 in really, really good condition, which I would never have actually paid for. What precipitated your offer? Comic book addiction. I was a major DC Comics fan, and I only owned at any given time, when I was collecting the first time, pre-1942, my cutoff was Pearl Harbor. Anything published before Pearl Harbor that had a DC superhero in it, it was finite but very, very expensive. I only had it Batman number 7, Superman number 10. So it was, okay, I do have monetary instruments here that I didn't have at that time. And let's see how many of these I can get. And like she says, what precipitated your offer? It was the addiction of going, I can actually own those books that I could never actually have before, except the 1 or 2 that I could afford that I bought very, very early on. And then I had a bureau drawer that was full of pre-1942 DC superhero comics. And as happens with anything that you collect, you can't want something that you have because you have it. The break point for me was when I got a Batman number 1 that I traded for. And it was like, this is a key Golden Age book. This is in the pantheon of DC superhero comics. This is right up there with Superman number 1, Action number 1, and Detective 27. I had a Detective 38 with the first Robin, and it was really cool having them, but you get to the point where they're all in plastic bags, and you go to pull them out, and the plastic bags stick together because you haven't looked at them in 6 months, a year, or whatever. And then it's like, okay, these are really, really pointless to have at this point. So at that point, when I was getting out of it, and it's like, okay, this is again just addiction stuff. We have to break these addictions. I took them all to Now and Then Books and said, Harry, price all of these books. You sell them, and I have unlimited credit at Now and Then Books. And every once in a while, I'll ask you for a check. You know, can I have a check for $1,500 or $2,000? And we didn't get very far in that process, and Harry died. And consequently, it was, this isn't going to get rolled over into the next ownership of Now and Then Books. So there went my, whatever it was, $5,000, $6,000 worth of credit at Now and Then Books. Have to just forget that. We're just trying to keep Now and Then Books going. And I have never again succumbed to that collecting addiction, although I am still really attracted to those books. I was at Looking for Heroes here in town. I forget what I was going in and getting, and they had a Detective 44 on the wall. And it's like, can I look at that? And it's like, you shouldn't do that. It's the same as, can I touch your pack of cigarettes? If somebody's got a pack of cigarettes, don't touch their pack of cigarettes. Don't ask them for a cigarette. Don't hold a cigarette in your hand. You don't smoke, and you're not going to smoke. Stay away from them. And so that's the story on that one. The second time I was addicted to collecting comic books and how that came to an end. And Jennifer also says, Cerebus, she sends along from, again, the Comics Buyer's Guide. Cerebus plates nearly finished. A full-color portfolio of paintings by Dave Sim, Cerebus creator, writer, artist, will be available in March, said Aardvark Anaheim publisher Denny Sim. The portfolio, she said, will consist of 45 photo-separated 9x12 plates in a folder designed by Dave. The folder is basically an envelope that folds in on four sides, fastens with a tab, and then is shrink-wrapped. There will be artwork by Dave printed on the outside of the folder. What we're trying to do is give fans a portfolio that will retail at $10, Denny said. But if we don't get enough orders, we would have to raise the price. Portfolios available from dealers will not be signed or numbered, she said. Signed and numbered portfolios will be available, quote, at a very steep price, unquote, only from Aardvark Anaheim. She estimated that there...
Uh-oh.
We do it. She estimated that there would be 75 to 100 autograph portfolios available at a cost of $75 to $100 each for the die-hard collector. And Jennifer wants to know, and which portfolio was this?
That's actually me. That was my question.
Oh, that was your question. Okay. That was the animated portfolio. You get thrown off by the fact that we changed the packaging to an envelope instead of the folder that folds in on the four sides, because that ended up being too expensive. And the fact that she describes it as a portfolio of paintings by Dave Sim. I'm not sure that she really understood the process that we went through on it. But yes, that was the animated Cerebus portfolio, and people bought the portfolio and Cerebus illustrations, numbered Cerebus illustrations, if they paid enough for their portfolio. And the whole thing was the biggest disaster in Aardvark Anaheim's history. Cost about $17,000 to print the number of portfolios, thinking if you print enough of them, it brings the cost down. If the cost is brought down and people can buy 45 plates for $10, it'll sell like crazy. And it's like, no, you're still just selling to the same people, but instead of doing a portfolio that cost you $10 that you're getting paid $75 for, you're doing a portfolio that cost you $17,000 because you printed way too many of them, and you could still only sell